What's up, you guys, and welcome to another episode. Well, the first episode of the new series. I was never a fan of, and this is where we take a look at things that either I or Adam, my co-host, um, were never a fan of. And introduce yourself, Adam.
Hello, my name is Adam, and I am the senior Babylonian on this project. Senior Babylonian and connoisseur of all things.
Awesome. Well, I'm definitely. I couldn't ask for a better partner to go on this journey of discovering Babylon 5, and you know, I've really. I was never really a fan of B5, but and I've heard of it like multiple times, and even like in when I was watching WCW Nitro back in the day. Um, I would,
Mhm.
um, I remember like during school nights, I would just have like this little this portable TV, one of those little 4-inch portable TVs that you'd have like four you know uh, D batteries, and you just I would watch it like under the covers, and
Mhm.
I would watch like different infomercials for like B5 and stuff like that, and I'm like, I don't know about if I really want to get into something like that. And actually, not recently, like not even like a decade ago, I started hearing a lot of stuff about B5 and how it's like probably one of the top five greatest shows ever produced.
Yeah,
And I
definitely sci-fi shows for sure.
yeah, I really got interested into it, but the thing was, and this might be like a little bit of me pleading ignorance, and that is that I was never really also a fan of like stuff that the space genre. It would
Right.
really take a lot for me to really get into stuff like that. Like I was a fan of Star Wars and Star Trek, and maybe some of the other incarnations of Star Trek, but at the same time I was just like anything else I'd be like, nope, that's a ripoff.
Yeah. Well,
um
B5. Mhm. Well, B5 isn't very. In terms of sci-fi fans, it's very well known.
mhm,
Um, in mainstream media, it never really got the coverage of like Deep Space Nine or Next Generation or Voyager, or, shows like that. Um, but more of like a sci-fi fans type of show. So if you weren't a sci-fi fan, you probably never heard of Babylon 5. But if you are a sci-fi fan, you've probably at least heard of it, if not at least a couple of episodes of it, or at least vaguely know what it is. In the very least, more likely, you've watched the entire series and know everything about the show. Which, by the way, I'm not claiming I know everything about the show. When I say I'm a connoisseur, we're probably going to watch it, and there's going to be a lot of stuff. I'm going to be like, oh wow, I forgot about that. Yeah, or oh yeah, but
yeah. So how did you I was introduced to it like not too long ago, not even like a month ago. I
mhm.
decided to start watching it. um like, how did you get introduced to it?
My friend Nick actually introduced me to it, and I think this is his third mention on this channel now. And no, actually, Joe introduced it to me. Nick introduced it to Joe. So it's kind of one of those things. It was like handed down through the ages, um, and I heard about it through Joe, And every time I would meet up with them, they would say they'd be making Babylon 5 references. And I'm like, oh, what's that? And they were like, oh, they told me what the show is about. Okay, sure. It's something that they're into. Good for them. And then they kept making these B5 references that I just wasn't getting. And I was like, oh, now I have to watch the show so I know what they're talking about. So, uh, actually, start the way that you started, though. I didn't start within the beginning. Actually, the first thing I saw was no, I'm sorry. I didn't start with The Gathering. I actually started within the beginning, which is the movie that takes place before the first season, but was actually made between seasons 4 and 5.
And it's quite complicated. Like it's not only a prequel, but it's also a sequel and a midquel.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It does jump around in the timeline,
Hmm.
as B5 sort of tends to do, as you'll find out very shortly. Um, but between seasons 4 and 5, as a prequel to season 5, but also a prequel to the entire series. And there are three schools of thought when introducing someone to Babylon 5 for the first time. The first way you can introduce them is through The Gathering, which is the pilot episode, which is the general way that I like to introduce people to B5. Some people don't like that doing it that way because Gathering really, some people say, isn't really that interesting and not that much really happens. Get someone into B5, the way to do it is in the beginning, which is the prequel movie. But the only problem with in the beginning is there are some spoilers. And there are some very minor plot points given away that you don't really know about until season 4. So that's not really the way I like to do it. The third way, the third school of thought, is just start them with the first episode of which you're probably going to kick me now for for making you watch The Gathering
Oh no,
when
that's all right.
when there
I
was really
always
no
wanna
point in
I
watching The
always wanna
Gathering.
know. I really always want to know how franchises started, no matter how low budgeted it is. But it's just I'm
Yeah.
fine with it. Like I'm really fine with it.
Mhm.
So
And The Gathering is pretty low budget.
okay, so you pretty much got into it because you wanted to pretty much fit in with
Yeah.
your buddies.
Right.
I really get that. I get that a lot. And when I was in middle school, the thing at that time was I remember was Clueless, and
God.
yeah, and the thing was that I at that time I had more girlfriends than guy friends at that time, and I would
Mhm.
hang around a lot with a lot of girls, and they would be like talking about Clueless and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna check it out to see what are they talking about. And then I found out about Donald Faison, who I
Mhm.
really liked him even before he was part of Scrubs.
Mhm. Yes.
And I really liked that show, and I thought that it was really good. And then got into a lot of girly shows, but stuff that was like girly on the outside, but it had a lot more in the inside. When it
Yeah.
went to plot and stuff like that, and I think that's perfect for what we're talking about right now. And that's Babylon 5. It's not just about space. It's more about conflict and relationships and d- you know uh, racial stereotypes. And I do think, yeah, you can pretty much mirror it to society today, and
Hmm.
it would be topical. Absolutely, you can.
Absolutely. And that's what J. Michael Straczynski, who's the writer and creator of Babylon 5 and whose altar I worship at,
Uh-huh.
as a writer myself,
Yeah.
writing my own series called Mr. Catch and the 21 coming soon, and which is not a sci-fi series, but anyway, um, he wanted to make a show that was about characters, about people. He
Hmm.
didn't want to make, another. It was a show about people that happens to be set in space,
Right.
but it's really about the relationships. It's really about the people on the station.
Hmm.
Which the station, by the way, if I'm just assuming that everyone who's uh, listening to this podcast right now has at least heard of Babylon 5. But if you haven't, do you mind if I just tell a little bit about what the series is about?
Well, I'll try. I'll try my best to give a synopsis and tell me if I'm wrong
Sure.
or right. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. Just
You tell me what you think this series is about.
so you're pretty much my auto check right now. Okay. My
Okay.
autocorrect. Okay.
I'm that little. I'm the paperclip that shows up on the bottom of the screen
Oh,
in
geez,
Microsoft Word.
old school Microsoft. I love
Yeah. All right. Sorry.
it. Okay, so this is set in pretty much like the far future. Um,
Yes.
and from what I've gathered, it's the year tw- um, 2257, and
Yes.
Babylon 5 is the it's where, and this is the reason why they call it The Gathering, this movie The Gathering. It's because Babylon 5 is where all the races gather, like
Hmm.
the humans, the Narn, the Centauri, Minbari, and the Vorlons. They
Yes.
so this is pretty much like a I want to say like a sanctuary, a place where there's no fighting, where everyone has to get along, and there's like this rule where they have to get along. Like you shouldn't fight. There's like this unspoken rule,
Hmm.
and the lead commander is Jeffrey Sinclair,
Hmm.
and he's in charge of the entire station, and
Hmm.
he keeps everybody in line, and you have like different ambassadors for each race, and this movie is basically them. This is the start of like the new regime, because the previous, and this is the reason why they call it Babylon 5, is because the previous four were destroyed, and
Well, three of them were destroyed. The
three
fourth
were
one
destroyed.
disappeared.
Yeah, the fourth one disappeared. It's just it was nowhere to be found. And I remember like one of the scenes was uh, the ambassador of the Minbari, uh, Delenn.
Delenn. Yep.
Yeah, Delenn. She said to Sinclair like, why do you keep on rebuilding? It's like, well, it's us humans. We when we lose something, we like to rebuild, and just and until it stays on, and it's one of those things that we do. And I thought it's one of those things that really rang true to me, because yes, humans do that. Like if a relationship doesn't work out, they go and try to go for the next relationship, and or for example, if someone gets into like a car accident, that doesn't mean that they would stop driving. um,
Hmm.
it's one of those things that I really think that really rang true to society even today. And not just
Hmm.
that, but the what's the name of the what was the name of the geez, I think he was I think he was a commander of the Minbari. Was it Dakar?
The Narn. Jakar.
Not the Narn though. The with the was he a Narn? Gakar?
Jakar's Narn. Yep.
Yep. Okay. Jakar was a Narn. Okay. So he is pretty much racist um, towards towards the Centauri,
Uh-huh.
and
Yes.
I really caught on to that. And the way that he was portrayed, it was kind of like a I want to say like a kind of, oh man, trying to think of the trying to think of the right way to label him as, because that's what he was, because he was this like this racist, kind of like this war vet, um
Hmm.
that's like,
So,
he's like like from the old west, your grandfather, like from the old west, that it's like he just hates it. Get off my lawn, kind of like that guy, you know.
right. So are you implying that Jakar is a villain of the series?
I would like to say that, especially since his face is
Hmm.
like right on the cover, DVD cover.
So you think that Jakar is the big bad, or at least one of the big bads?
I want to say he is the guy that's pulling the strings.
Ah, okay, interesting, interesting. I would like to come back to this episode. And I would like to, in a future episode, I like to use that clip. Um,
Okay, okay. So the way I see it is like he is like Shang Tsung for Mortal Kombat, and there. So
wow,
by
okay.
that, by that I mean that he is the guy that's pulling the strings. But even though that he's pulling the strings, there is someone above him that's giving him orders.
Ah, okay. Hmm,
So,
interesting. I'm enjoying this so much. knowing everything,
well,
how much I'm enjoying this.
that's
And it's
how
also,
that's how it was presented to, for me in
mhm,
this movie.
mhm.
And I feel like, yes, there is definitely a lot more to the
Oh,
character, but it's just that
oh yes.
it's just that, of course, like, this was, now keep in mind, okay, for everyone listening, and please don't flame me.
Mm.
um I think that the thing is about this movie is that it was a blueprint for things to come, but at the same time, they didn't take everything from this movie verbatim.
Mhm.
There are,
Right.
yeah, so maybe some of the things that I see here, I won't see the same thing in the first episode of the show.
No, no. There is some. The theming is different. There is some different theming.
Hmm.
I would say the first season doesn't really feel like The Gathering at all. The Gathering kind of has its own feel.
Right. So
Um,
the way I see it, it's like it's one of those things that it's like in its own bubble, but at the same time,
yeah.
some of the things have been extracted to the season. And okay, so far I'm right when it comes to the plot, right?
Yes. Uh, yeah. Yeah. You're very correct in a lot of um without giving anything away, or at least giving too much away.
Right.
Um, so Babylon 5 is the last of the Babylon stations.
Yeah.
And the reason that Babylon 5 was built was because of the Earth Minbari War,
Hmm.
ended 10 years before. There was a war between Earth and the Minbari, and the Minbari basically had the Earthlings beat, and for some reason, the Minbari just gave up. They just surrendered.
Well, I think
So,
it was said in this movie that Dylan
mhm.
and Sinclair, they had some sort of, maybe a past relationship, because it felt like they had something there before. maybe and the way that I saw it was that maybe Sinclair did a favor for Dylan, and Dylan paid him back by ending the war. Like that's what I got
Mm,
out of it. Because they do have this camaraderie that I think it's one of those things that it's hinted at of why the war ended, and
hmm
and also another thing that I think in this movie is that maybe there's more things to the Centauri than we are led to believe, because the guy that played Londo, who is a Centauri,
hmm
he's pretty much this. I want to say like the character that he was interpreting. Like the way that I envision it, Michael Straczynski, yeah, Straczynski,
Straczynski, yep.
yeah, Straczynski.
Straczynski, yep.
The way that he pitched it was that Londo is like this, sleazy ticket scalper,
Uh
slash New York cab driver. It just it felt that, which is weird because I like not too not too late today I watched the first episode of the George Carlin show,
Oh
and
boy.
yeah, George Carlin plays like this New York cab driver, and
hmm
he loves gambling, and I was like,
Oh
this is
wow.
totally Londo.
Yeah, Londo. Oh, see, I can only tell you what Londo is like in The Gathering, but I will tell you this:
Right.
all of the characters during the series will change and evolve,
Well, that's good. An
and
upgrade is always good.
yeah, yeah, and even Straczynski himself said,
Mhm.
"I don't like show or a movie, and I get to the end, and all the characters are in the same place that they were in
Right.
the beginning."
Hmm.
So, each character changes and evolves. But as for this point in the gathering, yeah, Londo is he's pretty sleazy. He's a gambler
Yeah.
and he's a hustler, and he likes money very much, and he likes to gamble, and he likes to drink, and he loves his republic, his once great republic, and he loves to tell stories about how great the Centauri Republic once was, and how they
Right.
used to, reach out across the stars. And, yeah, but he kind of passed a little bit. He's kind of like the Jim Cornette of Babylon 5.
Yeah.
Um, he wants to go back to the territory days.
Right.
Um,
But I don't know about gambling. I
but
still don't know anything about that side of the
yeah, yeah, but
So
mm,
okay, so the Vorlons. Okay, and we had all the ambassadors from, like, the humans, the Narn, the Centauri, the Minbari. And there was supposed to be like the final ambassador was supposed to show up, Ambassador
mhm,
Kosh, and
gosh,
yeah, and so he was supposed to show up, and the only way that I can describe him is like, think of a fleshier version of the Daleks that's turned inside out.
oh wow,
Because really, like, when I saw him, I almost belly laughed, but I was like, because
uh huh,
when I first saw him, I was like, holy shit, what am I watching? Am I watching like the original version of War of the Worlds?
right, right,
But at the same time, I was like, okay, this is a shoestring budget. Come on, just give them
yeah,
the benefit of the doubt. Come on,
yeah,
this is their pilot. This is their pitch movie.
and he
So
doesn't even, and he doesn't even have any lines in the pilot, does he? You don't actually hear Kosh speak.
not at all. It was just like grunts and
Yeah,
just that was it.
right,
Um,
right. There's
just
noises. Yeah,
yeah, and so he gets poisoned. Who
right.
did it? So it just turns into like a Alfred Hitchcock movie set in
It turns into
space.
Clue.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah,
So like who
it's
done it?
Clue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I love mysteries. I love like the who done it type of storyline. It's cool, and
Hmm.
it gives. I think it's one of the ways, one of the great ways to for the viewer to get to know the characters when you have like the individual interrogation scenes.
Right.
But but in this movie, we didn't get enough from each character to the point where I'm like, you know what, I'm sold. I'm gonna, you know what, I feel like this is gonna be the greatest show ever. Um, this definitely was not a great introduction for like the franchise. Like if I
Hmm.
wasn't like on board with the franchise and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give this a shot. If I was going into this and I was like, I watched this movie on like a random day when I was younger, I probably wouldn't give it a shot. But since I'm on board, I'm gonna have to. Um, and I thought it was it was a good first attempt. It did set the groundwork for things to come, but at the same time, I don't think it was one of those things that was just like, holy shit,
Yeah.
we gotta watch the franchise. It's just we gotta watch the series. The series is gonna be freaking awesome. It's not
Oh
like,
no.
yeah, it's not like like the first episode of Firefly,
Oh yeah.
or
Yeah.
yeah, or one of those, those great pilots, or like, like Prison Break, or like,
Yeah.
Breaking Bad, or anything like that. It's just it was just it felt
Yeah.
like, yeah, at the end of it I was like, okay, that's cool. Let's get on with the TV series.
Yeah. No, I hear you in that. I mean, it wasn't. It definitely wasn't the best way to grab people's, and believe me, I hear you. But what's it called?
Just give me hope and tell me to stick with it.
Goodness, stick with it because it gets so much better.
Okay,
Uh,
that's
it
all I
it
needed to
turns
hear.
into it turns into what I consider and what a lot of people consider the best sci-fi series of all time.
Okay, I'll take your
That's
word for it. And you know what?
I totally agree.
And
Uh,
here's another thing. It was 89 minutes long, and we watched it together, and I was definitely it was definitely a great experience. But didn't you feel like the movie was just longer than the time limit that
yes,
was, yeah. So
it
it was
does.
like,
It does drag at some points. There are definitely points during the gathering that drag.
mhm.
Which is why a lot of people say, don't watch The Gathering, just watch the first episode of the. Like, no, 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 no. This will give you an introduction to each character, and I think
Mhm.
that's what they're setting up. What I think that was the intention to set up. Not only that, but I don't want to say it was a throwaway movie, like a throwaway TV movie,
Oh no,
but
not at all.
yeah, yeah. But it definitely gives you like a good sense of this person is the commander. This person is the lieutenant commander. This person is the doctor. This person is the ambassador of this world, the ambassador of this world, the ambassador of this world. And if you just jump into the first episode, I feel like some of that is lost.
Right.
If you jump right into in the beginning, too much is given away.
So this is the
So
perfect balance.
I think it's the perfect balance, even though it's not the best budget. It does drag. Not much happens. It's a murder mystery, or not a murder mystery, but who done it?
Yeah.
Um,
Who
because we find
poisoned
out in the end.
Kosh? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But it's a who done it. It's a who poisoned Ambassador Kosh. Which they could have called it that, and it would have been fine. They could have called it who poisoned Ambassador Kosh.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, so I feel like this is a good introduction to each character, and not only that. Well, yeah, I guess that's pretty much it.
There
That
was a swerve in this movie as well, where it looked like it was going to be Sinclair,
yes,
and I called it. I was like, ah, and of course not. It wasn't him. No way. And I guess it's because I've seen too many movies and too many shows, but I feel like at the time in '93, a lot of people were shocked. So maybe if I had a time machine, well, then again, I would be 3 years old at that time. Um,
wow,
but like if I was if I have if like if I was older in '93 and I watched it for the first time, maybe I would have been shocked and I was like, no, no, Sinclair, no, why would you do that?
but at this point, and at the age that you're at now, you're just like, okay, it's not him.
Of course, yeah, because I've
Yeah,
seen too many of the lie revealed storyline. You know, it's just like, yeah, okay,
right,
we get it, we know, we know who done it.
right,
And especially with like, Jakar, throughout the movie, he was like a villain. It wasn't. He didn't even mask his heelness. He was a bad guy through and through, and he was like, the only thing missing was him twirling a mustache. You know,
right, right.
and it's just like it felt that way. Him going to Delenn and he's like, we should be, gaining our ranks in this race. Just like and now you're even worse than the Centauri, and it's just like, it's just like, come on, can't you even like mask a little bit of your scheminess?
Your racism.
Yeah. I think the idea was J. Michael. I'm not gonna say
Mhm.
his last name because I don't want to
Sure.
flub it again.
You can just say JMS. A lot of fans
Okay,
just call him JMS. Yeah.
okay. Even though that sounds like some sort of transmittal disease. Um,
Oh God. No, not Pretty Mean Sisters.
okay.
No, you remember Pretty Mean Sisters?
Yeah, I do. Sadly,
We're just gonna
Pterodonals
make
and
by the
Jacqueline.
Jacqueline. God, that was awful.
Absolutely.
By the way, if this is the first video that you're listening to on this channel, well, God bless you, first of all, and second of all, thanks for listening. And it's not even my channel. Why am I saying thanks for listening? And third, I don't care if you listen or not.
Fuck it. Don't subscribe.
Fucking not subscribe. No,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. Don't go unsubscribe now. But we also do wrestling reviews, and we might make wrestling references during
Hmm.
this, so just bear with us.
Yeah. Yeah. What were we talking about?
J.
Jeez,
Michael.
we're all over the place. Okay. Yeah. J. Michael. JMS. PMS.
Yes.
Um. So basically, what I think that his idea of writing was like, okay, I'm gonna give people something different. People are so used to pointing out who the villain is, and the villain is always the guy who's quiet and on the side. So I'm gonna make this guy so bombastic and so loud and so obnoxious that the fans are gonna be like, "Oh no, wait, it's this guy." So I'm gonna, it's gonna be like a little bit of a curveball where they're gonna be like, "Oh, it's no way this guy because he's too wild and obnoxious." It's gonna be someone else, and then
Mhm.
it's gonna be like the swerve is that there is no swerve.
That's so Russo.
Yeah, well, not that's anti-Russo because
Oh
Russo's
yeah, that's anti-Russo.
yeah, because Russo's idea would be like, um, Sinclair was framed, but it turns out it was Sinclair all along.
Right, and then
So
we're gonna have a Minbari on a pole match.
we're gonna have Babylon 5 on a pole. Yeah,
Bro, we gotta do something that no one's ever done before.
a match in space. Think about it, bro. A match in space with a pole.
Imagine if Vince Russo hears this.
Yeah, can't imagine, dude. He's too busy doing his show, the bucket full of chicken bones or whatever it's called.
What?
I don't know. It's something weird. It's called chicken neck bone or something like. I don't know. Something
What
weird.
the fuck? Oh my god. Okay. But yeah, one day Vince Russo was just like, bro, I don't know why I'm calling myself bro, but bro, I'm gonna surf the internet and see if there's anything good about Babylon 5 on YouTube. And he comes across this podcast. He's like, bro, they're talking about me, bro. Bro, they're talking about me on a bad five.
What kind of weird shit is this, bro? I used to run WCW. I used to write the lines for The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin, and now
I
I'm
made
getting
the Attitude
bashed by
Era.
two goofs talking about Babylon 5. What the fuck is even?
I created the Babylon 5. I created the Attitude Era.
Yeah, I wrote everything Sinclair ever said.
Oh God. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I keep
Think of
sidetracking
this
you.
storyline, bro. Delenn gets pregnant by Jakar.
Bro, it'll be something that no one's ever done before.
And
Oh
then
God.
David Arquette wins the world title. It's gonna be everywhere.
No, he wins the galactic title, the intergalactic title. David Arquette has to go to the top of Babylon 5 and retrieve the title.
Yeah.
And that's how he wins the title.
And the fans go wild because everybody loves a movie star. And then Kiss would play a concert.
On Babylon 5. Why is Kiss playing a concert on Babylon 5?
I have no idea. Why did
Oh my
anything
God. Okay,
in the book made any sense?
I don't know. But
Anyways,
so you were saying, so it was anti-Russo that Sinclair was not the swerve, was that there was no swerve.
yeah. So the swerve was there was no swerve, and I think that's JMS's way of writing, and that was like,
Mhm.
okay, let's not let's not insult people's intelligence, and let's just give them something different. And I think
Mhm.
that's the idea was in this. Now, I think if he had if he was given let's say $60 million around that time,
Yeah.
and was like, okay, you need to make a movie, or even if it was like a TV series, and we'll give you like 20 million.
Mhm.
I think he would have done great things because you do see his. Here's how I can the way that I can describe this movie. Remember the canteen scene in New Hope?
Yes.
This was it if it was a movie.
Great analogy.
Because you have all these different characters, and I remember the canteen scene. You're like, ooh, look at this guy. Ooh, look at that guy. What's his backstory? What's
Right.
this guy about? Ooh, this guy has an eyeball in the middle of his forehead. What's his deal? So
Right.
this was like the same thing, and it was also set in one place. They didn't go anywhere
Mhm.
else. So it really felt like the canteen scene in New Hope. That's
Yeah.
that's the way I see it.
Oh, definitely. And it's funny you mention that actually because Babylon 5 has its own bar called the Zocalo. And yeah, the Zocalo is kind of like the meeting place of Babylon 5, and also where they that. And yeah, it is kind of like the Mos Eisley Cantina. Absolutely.
And I thought the two characters that I thought were the ones that had the most dimensions, and the ones that I thought were the most well acted. I found out like they're not making a return in the series, and that's
Yes.
Dr. Benjamin and Takashima,
Takashima.
aka
Uh,
Takamichinoku. No one's gonna get that reference.
Other people, maybe someone else who watches your wrestling reviews will actually be like, "Oh, Bab 5. What's Babylon 5?" and check it out and actually get the reference.
Yeah,
Um,
like imagine. I think if he clicked on this video, or he or she, there are female wrestling fans out there, not discluded.
there are. True.
So if that person, clicked on this video and was like, okay, I'm gonna check out Babylon 5, I don't think in their wildest dreams they wouldn't have even thought of getting a Russo reference, a Cornette reference, Kiss reference, David Arquette, and Takamichinoku.
Takamichinoku. Oh, Jeffrey Sinclair, #1 commander.
Oh, Lando, I'm gonna choppy your pee-pee.
Oh my god!
You gotta pay your debt, or else I'm gonna choppy.
Did you just say, "Oh, Londo, I'm gonna choppy your pee-pee"?
I think
Those words just really come out of your mouth.
I think so. I think I just said so. Okay.
Wow. Well, now we have another T-shirt.
Okay.
what was-
Let's talk about Londo's outfit,
Okay.
which I thought was very Napoleon-esque.
Yes.
Okay. Adam, what
Yes.
bar is Londo?
Oh. Well, Jay. Londo is a peanut butter Twix. No. Let's see. Actually, he's wearing? What is it? Black and gold? Let me let me go online actually and look at a picture of Londo's outfit. It's black and gold, wasn't it?
It was actually purple and gold, and he had like
purple and gold.
Yeah, he had a red emblem. So
Let's see. Londo.
I always wanted to play this.
Me too.
Londo is a dairy milk. Cadbury
Londo
dairy milk.
is a purple rock candy lollipop. Is
Awesome.
dark purple skillets.
What about a twirl
He
chocolate
is-
bar?
He is a box of nerds. Londo is a box of Bean Boozled.
Okay. What about he's a Cadbury caramel.
Are they purple?
Yeah, there is purple and yeah.
He is
Yeah, we suck at this game.
he is a purple Hershey Kiss. What the fuck? Sorry, Jay. Sorry, Steve. Sorry, Mr. OOC. Sorry, V1. Sorry, Jay.
Sorry to everybody in the Botchamania website.
Yeah, Botchamania, OSW review.
Yeah, they're part of the Botchamania.
Oh. That's right. Yes, that's right.
So what about energy drinks? Are there energy drinks that are the same thing?
That are purple.
Yeah, purple and gold.
Purple and
he's
gold.
a Rockstar. Juice.
Oh, yes, that's perfect. Spicy. You have to splice it. I have to do a spicy up on the screen.
If I can, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I could.
Yeah, we don't have that type of budget.
Oh yeah, just like The Gathering.
Let's see.
Oh,
Let's see.
Okay, so overall, I thought the movie was a good blueprint for things to come.
Hmm.
Like I said, it wasn't anything mind blowing.
Right.
But I do think it has that perfect balance of like the first episode of the series and the beginning of it not showing too much, and yeah, it's not showing too much and then not spoiling stuff from from future movies and episodes. And yeah, I'd probably give it. Who? I'd give it a 6.5.
Oh, okay, that's not terrible.
Yeah, it was very. I thought it was good. It was definitely above average.
Hmm.
So yeah, 6.5. I'd give it like that.
Hmm.
Yeah. How?
Uh,
What would you give it? What would you rate it?
I would say it's definitely a lot better, and this is probably in a few months. But it definitely was not as bad as I remember it being.
Hmm.
Um, it's definitely not the best B5 movie, but it's definitely not the worst.
Definitely.
Um,
Hmm.
I mean, Third Spaces or whatever it's called. Third Space, yeah, it's pretty bad. And
Well,
River Souls.
from the reviews, I can totally tell it's definitely not the worst.
No, no, no. Um, but after watching it again for the first time in a few months, it's definitely not as bad as I remember it being. It's not a great introduction to the. No, I should say it is a great introduction to the entire series, but it's not the best of by. It's not the best of Babylon 5 by far.
Hmm.
Um, if you're judging Babylon 5 just by this movie, you would probably never watch another episode.
Hmm.
You'd probably be like, okay, this is crap. But because I'm kind of championing it to you, um, hopefully it sticks and hopefully you continue to watch. Um, I would say I'll give it a. I'll give it a solid 6.
Hmm. Well, that's not bad either. I think it's definitely above average. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm definitely gonna stick with it because I'm definitely gonna check out the next you know the first season of Babylon 5, and we will return and
Mhm.
definitely review the you know each installment of the episodes, and not
Awesome.
just that, but as well as the movies, and we have a lot to get through, and
Yes, there's
I
a lot
do,
of B5.
but it's definitely going to be a lot of fun. Seeing
Hmm.
it progress, and yeah, I had a lot of fun watching it, and definitely couldn't ask for a better partner to be on this ride. And yeah, I think that pretty much sums up Babylon 5. The
Well,
Gathering. Yeah, you got anything else to say about the movie?
uh, glad that I was able to get you into it, and it's going to be a fun watching you experience it for the first time, being someone who has already experienced the entire series and getting to see your authentic reactions to it.
Uh,
Uh,
Absolutely, yeah.
so, other than that, yeah, just remember a winner is you.
Oh,
Do,
geez,
do,
so
do,
many
do. All right.
OSW references. Hope we don't get to. Um, so okay, yeah, we'll definitely check you guys back on on our next podcast where we're gonna be talking about something else. Until then,
Yep.
take